We are live. Welcome to Tuesday, everybody.
What's up, people? Welcome back. Another wonderful episode of Pink Flags.
We are back with the pink flags you ignore. Sometimes you meet somebody and there's just so many things clicking
hmm
that you let one go.
Or you let a few go.
Yeah. And one of them, or a few of them, come back and bite you in the ass.
Right. And the thing with that is when you first starting out, when people show you who they are, we be so smitten and where we want to get to know someone. So sometimes you just let things go. And instead of letting it go, you should check it in the beginning or say, all right, I can't deal with this and walk away. But we let things slide, as you said.
Oh, yeah. You just kind of like gloss over the whole thing because things feel good, things look good, things sound good. There's all kind of new experiences and some stupid things. Like when a guy tells you, "Oh, I don't love like other people." When you hear that, run like your ass is on fire. If somebody tells you that they do not love like other people, that means that they are going to try with everything they have in them to not love you.
Oh, that's what that means? Because I'm sitting here trying to figure out what that means myself.
No, that means that, like, you know what? You could hang around, you could share my table, you could share my bed, you could do whatever, but I am going to make you wait for a commitment until, like, you can't take anymore. And I'm going to breadcrumb you. I'm just going to leave that little trail of breadcrumbs
That's
just to
wow.
see how far you're going to go.
That is crazy.
Not
And
all the time.
yes, I believe so. But if somebody tells you and you feel that a person can't love you the way you need to be loved, you have
How
to love
long do you
yourself
get them?
enough. Right. You have to love yourself enough to walk away. That's it. Like sometimes you're so smitten with a person that you allow things that you never would allow anyone else to do to happen. And you have to catch yourself and check yourself and and realize like I can't do this. And you have to regulate the situation. So it's a lot to it sometimes.
Oh, there's a lot to it. And there's other pink flags. Like, I think all of us have dated that person who I used to tell a friend of mine that her child was a human shield
How was a child a human shield?
because whenever things got uncomfortable, she did and blame it on, like, my child's going through a thing and I don't need to be in a relationship right now.
Oh, her child was her excuse.
Yeah, but to the point where I said he was a human shield. She was dodging bullets with the boy.
Wow.
You know, it's like she'd be telling this guy that his grades were slipping and that she needed to be home more and help him focus on homework. And then she'd be telling this guy that her ex wasn't picking him up on the weekend, so she had to take him to all his activities. And by the time like Saturday night rolled around, she wasn't like in the right frame of mind to go out on a date. And like,
So why was she even in that relationship?
oh, this wasn't one relationship. This was a lot of relationships.
If it
That's
was that bad, she
human
didn't need to
shield.
be there. She really should have stepped away if it was that bad.
She was looking for she was looking
Loving
for
all the
a
wrong
person
places.
that made her happy. And when it didn't make her happy, she would like use the kid as an excuse. And oftentimes people would come back like 6 months later and, you know, oh, I have tickets to go see a play, or I have tickets for a concert, or I was really thinking about you. And you know, and then they take her out a couple of times again. And my kid needs a haircut in Kansas. Sorry, talk to you soon.
Wow.
That's like a pink flag that if somebody always has an excuse that pertains to their children. And that was that's just one child. And like if you're dating somebody with like two, three children, and every time you want something to be about you, they're like, oh, but one of my kids has to X or Y or Z. That is a pink flag that you'll ignore because, oh, yeah, because it's the kids and, that's the right thing to do. But if it doesn't suit you, like if you can find the time in your busy schedule, what about other people? Why are they not finding the time? And you can always do different things. Like, you go out on like off hours or off days.
Yes. But I was always told if a person wants you, they will always find the time for you. They will make time for you. So if you're dealing with someone that's quote unquote always busy, they're not interested in you because a person, no matter how busy a person is, it's 24 hours. You could make enough 5 or 10 minutes at least to get on the phone, have a conversation, speak. People do what they want to do. So that just goes without saying. So if a person can't give you a couple of minutes out the day, they're not truly that interested in you.
I used to
But
date somebody like a long time ago, I guess
mm,
about 10, 11 years ago. And I would hear from him Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And I didn't care. Like I knew Tuesday I was going to hear from this guy. Friday I was definitely going to hear from this guy. And Sunday I was going to hear from this guy. And it pretty much had like the same kind of patterns. The occasional Saturday maybe, but mostly like Tuesday we chill and watch some TV. Friday we go out somewhere and then end up back at his place. And then Sunday, because my kids were still living home, I'd go over to his place and like make dinner if my kids were busy. And I was okay with that. But at the time, my sons were not because they were like, you don't hear from this guy on the other days. And
yeah,
some
you didn't find that a little strange?
I didn't care. I knew
Oh,
he wasn't anything I really wanted. Actually, he was the person that I explained the whole concept of pink flags to the first time.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
so far, he was like, so far, no red flags. I said, oh, but buddy, there's like a whole fucking field of pink flags.
Yes, and if it's a field of pink flags, that adds up to one big red flag.
It was like, you know, in, like the poppies in the Wizard of Oz,
Hmm.
and that scene where there's just like a field of flowers that goes on and on and on.
Yes.
That was like my mental image for pink flags. Was this guy just presented a field of tiny problems that were only going to get bigger as far as the eye could see.
Hmm. And
But
and see, one of my biggest pink flags that I get from people that I
mm,
cannot tolerate is someone that's constantly lying. If a person is constantly lying to you or have a bunch of excuses, you might as well disappear because they're hiding something, something's not right. Like like I'd rather a person be truthful and to the point, even if you don't like it, than lying and deceiving. Deceit is one of the things that I just can't deal with.
mhm.
Because to me, that's not a good relationship. If your relationship is built on lies and deceit, what kind of relationship do you have?
Oh, absolutely.
And
That's
you go ahead.
no, that's one of those things too. Like there are some people you talk to and you know that they're not telling you the truth. Like after I left my like after I separated from my husband, I just realized that like the amount of bullshit he heaped on my existence was stupefying. And the amount of and like I know now because I was working with him at the time, like we worked in the same place.
Hmm.
And hindsight is so 2020 that I let so many little pink flags go back in the day. Don't
That
do that.
that says a lot. And like I said, when you let a person get away with certain things, they think it's all right, and they think they can continuously do it. Like even for myself, another one of my pink flags is I dated a girl that like she smoked weed, and I'm like, all right, I'm not a weed smoker, but she smoked, and I'm like, all right, cool. But the amount of I'm like, yo, you wake up smoking, you go to bed smoking, you eat, you smoke for lunch with. I'm like, to me, that's like that was a
Addictive.
yeah, and I let it pass. I didn't even really think about it. But as time went on, I was like, hold up, something is less off with this. If you can't, that's even like you dealing with someone that every time all they do is they have to have a drink. Like to me, that's a problem. If everything entails like you gotta drink, like you gotta go talk to somebody or you gotta do something like or 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 someone that if you have a disagreement and they want to grab on you and stuff like that and they get physical, that's another pink flag right there. To me, that's a very big pink flag because
One of my things is if somebody's not taking you on real dates because they're paying child support or
Hmm.
their rent is high and they like to live by themselves, which I understand. Um,
Hmm.
or but every time you turn around, they got to go to the liquor store or they got to go buy more weed or they got to go buy cigarettes or they got to go
Yeah,
buy Jordans.
I
Like
got
you're
you.
living hand to mouth
I got you.
and you are
The-
flushing money away.
Right. They can't take you out. They can't do certain things for you, but they could go get the bullshit. They could do the weed, they could do the liquor, they could do the $300 sneakers. I really think at our age, any grown man or woman
Oh,
that
you'd be surprised.
yeah, I guess
Woo!
they are out there. Still, that's the sad thing. They're still out there, but it's people that like that's a pink flag too. When you can't um understand what's important, when you can't understand what's important, that to me that's a big pink flag right there because it says a lot like when it's time for rent and a person would rather buy a bag of weed than to put their money into the rent. We need somewhere to stay, but people don't get it, and people got to figure. You got to figure out what's best for you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You got to do, and like, I don't need you to take me out, but I also don't need to pay for you if I want to go somewhere.
Yep.
If you're not taking me out, then I'm not going to be taking you out.
And that's the thing too. I'm funny with that. I'm a person. I have old fashioned tendencies. A lot of old fashioned tendencies. I know you and Sean always say that, but
Stop.
I look at how people. I look at how women react to certain things. Like I'm a guy that feels a guy likes to be pampered and stuff also once in a while. So or say I'm on a date with a young lady and I'm always paying the bill. It's nothing wrong with that. It's cool. But I want to see if she's the type of woman that once in a while will be like, hold up, let me get the tip. Let me get the tip. I got the tip. Or even just say, all right, I'll pay for the dinner once in a while. That shows me her character. And you know me, I'm high on the character thing.
Yeah,
And
no, and that's but that is like your love language. When you feel love
hmm
is when someone gives you high standards and acts of service. That matters to you.
right,
I mean, that really makes you feel valued.
right,
And that's like the whole pink flags concept is you got to find the right person for you. And I remember when, because I was with Dave for a long time, even though we weren't married, we were together for like a decade.
hmm
And back in the day, I did so much. Like over the course of years, I really like seriously catered to him and gave him like so much attention. And every once in a while, I'd be in the middle of doing something, you know, something that was particularly kind or particularly intimate. And I'd get like this attitude, like he was just like over it, like stop. And I was never a person to take these things to heart. But there's only so many times when you're going to be like really catering to a man and he's going to be like oh, you're doing it wrong.
Wow.
I'm doing it at all.
Right. That's the
I'm
point.
doing it at all. These,
I'm going out of my way doing this for you.
yeah, these are the kind of pink flags, though, in the beginning that I let go. I let them go with my ex, and I let them go with Dave, that they just didn't really seem to be into. Like, acts of service is the way that I love.
Hmm.
I don't particularly, and I don't think that sometimes we follow our own best advice.
You like taking care of your man.
I do, but I like to be appreciated and I like that to be acknowledged. I don't want you to go buy me like a Gucci bag every time I rub your feet.
Hmm.
But I do like a little like I like when you do I love when you do that. That is really, a good thing. I'm putting lotion on your feet that you know how I feel about feet. So if I'm touching your feet, I really like you.
That says a lot, right?
Yeah. So please, if um touching your feet or I'm learning to cook new foods or whatever, putting because I know how to like mat and frame art. I
Hmm.
went to art school, so like I have the tools and everything so that I can do like a really professional job with a picture frame. And it's like, if I'm gonna take that picture of your grandmother and buy a good frame and get like the piece of like the piece of board from Michael's and cut it out with the X-Acto knife and hook it up like museum quality, I kind of want to know that you appreciate that. I'm not trying to be a bitch, but if you don't
Right.
appreciate it, maybe I'm just not the person for you. And it's okay. It's like, you know, the pink flag is, oh, you always got to hear thank you. Yeah, I do always got to hear thank you. And if that is too much of a difficult situation for you, then maybe you're not for me. And that should be a pink flag. Because then
Yes.
people should at least have good manners.
I think there's a few things also when you're talking to someone and you're breaking down how you see things, you both have to listen to each other. Someone told me and I know I do this sometimes, when I'm conversing and we're telling each other how we feel about certain situations. Sometimes I'm so into it that I'll cut them off and that you got to know what you have to work on in the relationship also. So I know that's one of my things that I know that's one of the things that I got to work on and but it's a pink flag when you see that the person you're dealing with isn't willing to work on what they need to work on also.
Yeah. And how long do you let that go? Like if you go to therapy or you go to the gym or you take night courses or take courses on Coursera or Udemy or something like that, and you're dating a person who just thinks that that's a waste of time. They don't say it to you, but all their free time is spent doing exactly nothing. There's no improvement, there's no personal development. You know, I'm like the permanent work in progress.
Hmm.
Like I always want to be like the best version of myself or a better version of myself than I was 6 months ago or a year ago.
And sometimes you got to dig deep and figure out what you need to work on, what you need to get better at, how can you get better at it, what is your own pink flag, what do you see in yourself that needs to be worked on, and how can you go about doing that? Because like I said, it goes both ways. If a person isn't willing to put in the work, the situation will never change. But it also goes to what you said. If you allow a person to continue to do certain things, that situation won't ever change. And at times it'll just get worse because now you're like, hold up, why is this person still doing this? Well, like they know this bothers me and they're still doing this. So it has to be a give and take. And if it's no give and take in that relationship, there is no relationship.
Yeah, what are you doing?
And that's rather it's a romantic relationship, a friendly relationship, whatever type of relationship it is, even if it's just a friend, it has to be give and take. Because sometimes you have friends that take advantage of your relationship. It don't always have to be a lover. Sometimes it's family. And with family, sometimes that's the hardest because you give family a lot of leeway. And sometimes even with family, you got to be like, fuck it. I'm not dealing with this. Like I'd rather not be bothered. You do what you have to do, I'll do what I have to do, and we'll keep it moving. So even with family, if they're not willing to put in that work to make uh your relationship work out, then we have to step away. I have family I haven't spoken to in years, and it may sound sad, but I'm all right with it. Like, okay, because you're not willing to do what you have to do, so I guess you already said how you feel, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. No, and it's especially prevalent when you come from a larger family because then you get to see like all the different personalities. And one of the big truths in life is you can grow up in a house and you talk with your siblings about something that happened.
Hmm.
And if you got two siblings, there's two different stories. If you got four siblings, there's four different stories. If you got eight siblings, there's eight different stories. Nobody perceived that Christmas when X and Y and Z happened. Nobody's seeing it at the same time.
Right. Or the same way.
Yeah. So what makes romantic relationships any different?
That is 100% true. And people have to understand, like it's like it's work. Any relationship is work. And if you truly care about someone, you would put in that work. Or if you value what you have, you will put in that work. So I don't know. And it depends on the way you look at the relationship or a relationship or how you value the relationship. So, it depends.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, If you value a relationship, you will let some pink flags just slide on by. I value this relationship because we look at the future the same way. We both want to live in a place like this place or that place. We both want to have two kids, or we're both divorced and all our kids are all living out. Nobody's ever coming back, and we agree on that. It's all good. But what are the things that you letting go because you agree on that? And the older you get, the more things you have to let slide if you want to find like a new romantic relationship.
Do
Because
you really feel that way?
serious baggage the older they get. You and
I,
I both live alone. Well, one of your daughters lives with you, but essentially
yeah.
you would pretty much
But
live alone if she decided to move out tomorrow.
right, right. But my thing is, you said the older we get, the more baggage. I don't know. I feel the older we get, the less baggage it should be. If you had a failed marriage or whatever,
I think that's a definition of baggage.
but no, but I'm saying that was in the past. You leave that back there and don't bring it into what we have. So that's how I look at that. If you have kids, I understand you have to deal. Hopefully, you deal with your kids, and things are cool. But like I said, we could navigate. I think a lot of things we can navigate through, and whatever I feel I don't want to navigate through, we're gonna have to speak about it, and we're gonna have to try to work that out. And if
But
it's
there's a lot of
something
people out there, especially older people, who do not want to speak about it.
right, and so now that where it comes in the point that I'm saying, if it's something I really feel I can't deal with, it's either I'm not going to deal with this relationship, or we're going to have to speak about it and figure out what we're going to do with it.
What do you
Because
think you would let slide in the
right,
beginning at
but
this point?
my point is, it's like I have a friend that that's watching that said you can't just let things slide. You got to speak on things sometimes. You got to get it out, because if you let it fester, it becomes like a sickness, and now you holding animosity towards each other, and you can't read a person's mind, so you have to speak certain things out, and you have to let it, and you have to work on it. So
Oh
if you
no,
let
I agree because I'm a big believer in men are not mind readers.
right,
A lot of women are like, I just want him to step up. That's all well and good. And nobody, I mean, everybody wants a man who's going to step up. Not just women for romantic purposes. Like corporations want men who step up. The military wants men who step up. Government wants men who step up.
hmm
But if you don't know what you're stepping up for or what you're stepping up to, then how do you know to do it?
right, that's true. But that's the conversation.
It
That
is a conversation.
that goes to that conversation you have to have. And sometimes the conversation could be intense. Sometimes the conversation could be scary, but you got to have that conversation, because if you don't, like I said, things will fester, and it'll become worse than it was, worse than it started out, and you don't need it to be like that. You need things to get better. So you wanna speak your truth. You wanna get it out and leave it alone. And that's something even myself. I because I'm not the arguing type. I'm a debating type, but I'm not the arguing type. So sometimes rather than argue, I'll be like, forget it, whatever, whatever. And I have people that's like, you can't do that. But I also say, like, sometimes I'm like that for a reason. Because when you get into situations like that and certain things are said, like I said, you cannot take back what you said. And if you say certain things to me, that shit's gonna be in my head forever now.
Oh,
So sometimes I try to like hold back. But
Amo.
people are right when they say no, you gotta speak. You gotta let things know. So it's on, like I said, it's on both of you to have a conversation. A conversation is better different than an argument. What's that?
I'm sorry, paper. It does never go back the way it was.
Right, right. That's how it is.
Hmm.
I never thought of that analogy. But
Yes,
yes,
it's my favorite.
when you say hurtful shit, it's like you're ripping up a piece of paper and you cannot put that piece of paper back together again. That is right. So I tell people all the time, you got to watch what you say to people because words, you could smack someone in the face and they heal. You could say something to someone and they never heal from what you say.
No, and I know this because when my sons got to be a little bit older, I got verbally rougher with them, especially when I was going through my divorce and I was just like angry and frustrated and I felt like they weren't on my side and deserved for them to be on my side.
Hmm.
And I said things that were just not good.
Mm.
And they don't really forgive me. And me asking for forgiveness has not hit yet. Like I've asked.
Uh huh. But that's that stuff. Like I said,
It's
like
completely, yeah,
people don't get like words really, really, really hurt.
yeah.
And you really got that's why I'm a person when I'm conversing, a lot of times I'll take a pause. I'll think about what I'm gonna say next because I know you can't take it back once you put it out there. And that's not being fake or anything like that. That's being thoughtful to me.
Oh, I agree. My whole thing is like, I'm gonna go off for a little while. I'm gonna go sit by myself or sleep in the other room or
Hmm.
drive and stay the night at a friend's house or something like that. Like really put some physical distance, some necessary physical distance between me and you.
Right.
Because if you want to talk about it now, I'm probably gonna cry until I throw up. A. And if I'm not crying while we're arguing, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to say something that we will both regret.
Right. And that's not cool.
No. So don't tell me like I have to stand there and discuss this with you right now because I can't. And
And
part of loving somebody is coming coming to them at their level. You know, that's like another thing that pink flags is like you got to find somebody who understands where your level is.
hmm
Can they live with you at that level?
right.
You know, and all the other things that we talk about, like money and traveling and sex and this. they all have everything to do with like being with someone at their allowable level.
And what is that allowable level?
What can they handle?
Right. Right. Because like I know me. And like I said, once again, I know some things I have to work on. And one of my things I know I have to work on, Sean's been telling me this for like 15 years, is holding things. She said, like, you get so angry and you think about it so hard and you hold it, like you can't do that because you become,
You pop.
yeah, yeah. So like I tell people all the time, I don't forget anything someone tells me. If you tell me some real raw hurtful shit, that shit sticks with me. And it could be 15, 20 years later. And in the back of my head, I'll be like, I remember when you said A, B, and C. That's not good. That's not good. Sometimes you have to learn to let it go. But it also goes to what I tell you and Sean, that I say people know what they're saying and doing. So I look at it as if you say A, B, and C, you intentionally said A, B, and C, so you didn't give a damn about me. But I've also heard sometimes out of anger, people are human and people say things and they don't mean, but I'm not that person. But now when I say that, you also got to go to the idea that you're not that person, but maybe that person is that person. And you can't hold everybody 100% to your standards. You know, you demand respect, you could want respect, all that, but everybody's not you. I have a friend I always tell her that. I say there's a lot of things you would do for people that they wouldn't do for you because they're not you. So if I hold that person to that standard, you would have to hold yourself to that standard and say that everybody's not you. And just because there's lines you won't cross and things you won't do, you can't say everyone else won't do that. And everyone else looks at things the way you look at it. And I'm a person, I'm very introspective. So a lot of times after I have a conversation, I'll think about it, and I'll be like, all right, yeah, this person, they had a point. Like, yeah, sometimes in the heat and rage or whatever, people say hurtful, spiteful things. Are you gonna hold them? And like I said, that's something I have to work on. So like that, but it all goes to, in a relationship, are you willing to put in that work? That's it. And do you feel it necessary? Do you value that person enough to do what you have to do? And that's one of the things.
Yeah, it does have a lot to do with value, like how much you value yourself.
Yes. Yes.
You value yourself enough to not cut corners when it comes to finding love.
Right, right. That's true. That is definitely true. And you have to value yourself enough to say enough is enough, or all right, I'm willing to do this. Let's do this together. But if you value yourself, you gotta let that person value you also. Because we have all been in relationships where a person has gotten away with shit that no one else that you have ever dealt with got away with. I know we all have dealt with that. So, what makes this person worthy of that, where you didn't allow other people to do that? And only we know.
Right. Like
So,
what makes that person so important to you that you allow them to hurt you? Or what would make that person so valuable to you that you would just let your guard down? Maybe like shift your focus. Is this somebody who doesn't give me butterflies in my stomach when I see them? Is this someone who makes me feel like I could talk to them all day when their clothes are on?
hmm
Is this a person that like I would trust? Because I remember back in the day, I would make people leave their car near my house and drive. I would drive them in my car on dates
why would you do that?
because I didn't trust them. And I wasn't even in a place to entertain trusting somebody.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of like, all right, this is the gate to the building where I live. Park on that block and wait by the security gate.
Oh, they didn't even know where you lived.
What?
You saying they didn't even know where you live?
Nope. They didn't get into my apartment. They didn't even get just like the front door of the building. Like, you wait there, I will come get you. This is like Mission Impossible.
Hmm.
If you get caught, you have to poison yourself. And at the time, that was all I could handle. And that was weird. And I'm sure somebody saw that as like a pink flag. Oh no, I was like really terrible. Like after my divorce, I started seeing somebody really quick and they were super pushy. And next thing you know, I'm engaged to somebody who I didn't love, I didn't even like, I didn't want, I didn't need, I didn't deserve.
hmm
So when that was over, I was kind of like, listen, we're going to do things my way. I'm only going to go out for breakfast dates. And you're going to drive your car to my neighborhood. And I'm just going to pick you up on the corner. And if I don't like you, I'm going to drive you back to your car and get out.
That's what's up. Sometimes I guess it has to be like that. And like after my divorce, I waited a while, but I still think that my mind state wasn't where it needed to be. I still had like a lot of anger. So, but then the person I was dealing with, I felt was very one sided. So it was a situation where like
Maybe that was all you could handle.
she had kids, she had her situation, and it was like, well, I want you to be with me and my kids, but your kids, they could drop in once in a while, and I wasn't. I You can ask anybody. Wise is not that dad. My kids are so important to me, and if you can't embrace mine, but expect me, and I embraced hers because that's me. Like to this day, the kids hit me up on Facebook and all that. But if you can't embrace mine, we can't be together. So that broke down the whole relationship. And I was like, yo, You do you, I'll do me. I'm not I'm not a person that goes back. Like I said, in all my dating years, I never went back to a person. So I'm like, all right, you enjoy life, you do what you do, I do what I do. For a while, I didn't even date for like a whole nother year almost. I was like, all right. And then I started dating again. And that's where Sean came in with my icebox mantra because she was like, "You are so cold." And I'm like, "I'm not cold. I just don't believe in bullshit. Like, I believe people know
Also,
exactly what they do, and
you have
I'm
to
not
protect
letting them get
yourself.
away with it. That's it."
You
And
have
she,
to protect yourself because the only reason things went the way that they did with Dave was because he had young kids. He was only separated. He wasn't even close to being divorced. And I knew I knew I could let him into my apartment and I knew he would leave without because sometimes you get these guys that come up in your place and they're like, "Wow, it's nice up here.
yeah,
Yeah, nice things. Wow."
yeah,
Otherwise known as hobosexuals. Um,
yeah.
oh, it's nice up here. I could see myself living here. Oh, good, because I can't. You got to go now. But I
That's
think
it.
I was fine with like a night here, maybe 2 nights there. We could go away for a weekend, but not like anything that was too extravagant. I think it was just right at the time, you know? And he had a weird schedule and I had a weird schedule. And it was just like it clicked. And I think that, again, you let a lot of things go by the wayside when some of the more important stuff clicks.
Right.
Like I trusted him to be in my space. I trusted him to like be in my apartment, be in my car, be with my family, be with my friends, and I let a lot of other things that, you know, a lot of other punch list items went neglected.
And
And
and and that happens a lot of times. That
oh,
happens
I
a
think it
lot of
happens to
times
everybody.
because, like I said, after the divorce and me dealing with that young lady, there was certain things that I let ride, and after we broke up, I was like, I can't believe I even allowed that. But sometimes you thinking to yourself also, damn, I just got divorced. This is another relationship. I don't want to look silly. And it's not even about looking silly. It's about taking care of yourself and doing what you have to do for yourself. And sometimes people don't get that. And I could let this slide. I could let that slide. But like I said, I grew to the point that I was like, no, I'm not letting shit slide. No, because this person knows what they're doing. And I'm never gonna allow anyone to disrespect me or treat me in a manner that I feel is incorrect. So, like I tell Sean all the time when she come with the icebox stuff, I said I'll be icebox. I'll rather be alone than to be with someone and be miserable,
Hourly.
and that's truth.
With somebody who like leaves you flapping in the wind. You don't know. They're good on Tuesday, they're difficult on Friday, they're beautiful on Monday. It's like, what are you doing? Like, be consistency is big.
Yes.
Consistency is like,
Consistency is everything.
yeah, because I really do not want to have to process your mood. I don't know about anybody else, but just because I love you does not mean that I want to process your mood.
That's true.
You come in, you had a bad day at work. The moment you walk in, look, I had a bad day at work. I'm going to watch TV by myself right now. Yes, please do. Get yourself in your happy place. Go take a shower. Watch some TV.
And it's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you need that alone time.
Yeah,
Sometimes you need that time that like you're just like, well, I mean, this is for me. Like I need that downtime. I need that away time. I'm gonna go watch a basketball game, a baseball game, football, or whatever. I'm gonna listen to some music. I'm gonna hit the weights, do what I gotta do, and that way you're not taking out your bull on someone else. That's it.
yeah, and I think that's key. Like when people open up to you and tell you, like, I need X or Y or Z, starting with time to myself.
Hmm.
Like in the last, I'm in a season where my sisters and my friends mean more to me than finding a new man.
That's what's up.
Going, getting something to eat, having girls' night in, girls' night out, going to Delaware, going to Jersey. These are the things right now that matter to me first and foremost. I don't have to, because I'm not ready.
And when you're ready, you'll know it. It'll be there.
I'm sure it will.
When it's that time, like you'll know, but also you know what you're looking for, what you want, what you could deal with, what you can't deal with, and that says it all. That's the most important thing, and it shouldn't be nothing else besides that. Like I'm not gonna tolerate certain things. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for in a woman. So, but like we always say, you also have to make sure you're together yourself. That's very important. Very much
It's
so.
really important. And I put something up on my wall by my desk because I'm at my desk at work all day. And then I do some consulting stuff. So sometimes I'm at my desk for like 12 or 14 hours in a day.
Hmm.
I used to have this thing over my desk, imagine yourself powerful, that the amazing, wonderful, stunning Dr. Robert Garcia had on his Facebook page um, a while ago. And then I was watching Reginald the Vampire on Hulu.
Oh, I watched that.
It was so good. It was
I watched
great.
that. Yeah,
I loved it. And the first line, it says, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
and that's true.
It is front and center now behind my monitor on my desk. Because I'm like, mm-mm,
Sometimes you got to change the way you think about things and the way you see things.
And don't listen to other people. Don't listen to us, even though Wise and I are the smartest people in the room, no matter what the room is. But you got to do you.
Right. You got to find what makes you tick. But see, I would put a spin on it the way you said it. Listen to us and take what you need. Don't think everything we're saying is law and everything we're saying is right. It's right for us. It's right for myself. It's right for you. It may not be right for someone else. But like I could listen to you talk and be like, oh shit, Barbara got a point. Let me try that. I'm taking what's good for me, what will help me. It's nothing wrong with reaching out and saying, "Oh shit, yeah, that might work. That might help me." And that's what a lot of people shy away from doing. If you could get something and be like, "Oh wow, okay, yeah, this would help me. This would make me a little better in this situation, a little better in that situation." You should not shy away from that. You should be like, "All right, if this is going to work, Barbara said that, but I'm gonna run with that shit because I think this can help my situation." It's nothing wrong with that. Even the person you deal with, if they say something and you're like, "Oh shit, okay, yeah, they got a point." Run with it. Don't let your ego stop you from going where you need to be or getting what you need to get. Sometimes our pride and our ego is the biggest hindrance that we have. So
Oh
you
yeah,
gotta learn, yeah,
easily.
you have to learn how to check yourself sometimes.
And other times when you be listening and you're just like, oh man, they are so full of shit tonight. But then you find yourself in a situation and it's like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, Barbara and Wise were talking about that. And this is that situation,
Right. There you go.
you know?
It's nothing wrong with listening. When a person is telling you how they feel or how they see things, listen. Don't just listen, try to comprehend what they're saying. If a
Don't
person
listen to answer.
right, if a
Listen to
person
absorb.
right, if a person is telling you this hurts me, this bothers me, listen. Don't just dismiss it. Listen. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And
That should be our next week's topic. The art
what
of listening.
the art of listening. I got to work on that one too, though.
Yeah. Well, we'll throw it all out there.
Yes, yes,
We'll throw out all our amateur knowledge.
yes. All right. And like I said, it's always a pleasure, Barbara. Until next Tuesday, we'll do it again. And maybe we could do the art of listening and throw in a little of something else. But the art of listening is definitely very important. So
Yeah.
yes, we're going to work on that one 100%.
Okay.
And you enjoy the rest of your week. Always a privilege.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks everybody for checking us out. We'll see you guys next week. Later.